It's an interrogation game.
I understand that suspicion falls on me as the spouse of the victim.
Lucia is the suspect, and she's just killed her husband, probably, definitely, maybe.
But I assure you that I had no motive to kill my husband.
And it's your job as the player to essentially throw any question you want at her to see if you can crack the facade and get a confession.
You've got a very open, free interface to question her.
It was a moment of desperation, a terrible mistake. I swear I didn't do it.
As well as some tools to help you understand what she's thinking.
Deny knowledge of his body, show shock and remorse. Keep them guessing. How could this have happened? Think of a plausible explanation. My husband was doing terrible things, detective. Please, you've got to believe me.
One of the neat things is that you get 2 levels of dialogue back from Lucia. So every time you ask a question, you get her external dialogue, so the direct response to your question. So, no detective, I did not push my husband into the meat grinder. But then you also get her internal monologue, her kind of via a mind reader. And this mind reader is displaying not just her anxieties, her fears, her concerns about being caught, but also leaking new angles on the case, leaking new strategies and bits of information that you could use. So here the player is adopting a very unkind strategy of bullying Lucia, saying that she's jealous, and that's really got her angry. But she absolutely doesn't respond well to that kind of just full throttle bully. But you can see in the inner monologue, she's reflecting on the player's strategies and talking about how she's grasping, the player is grasping their own theories. And actually, her strategy in this instance is just to keep fighting and reinforcing her innocence.
And the game really encourages the player to try different angles, to prod at Lucia and try and get to the truth.
We think of this as a game that really rewards player creativity. This is a game which the more you bring to it in terms of imaginative ideas and thoughts and angles and strategies, the more the game gives back, because that's the power of the system we built, is that it rolls with what you've given it.
Yeah, no, and no avenue is really out of reach. I think, the way that we've designed the game is to really facilitate trial and error in almost well, not, I'm not going to say any angle, but certainly, we want the player to be creative, and that was always an aim of the game, and for the variety of conversations that can happen to be really, really broad, but also really tied to what actually happened on the day of the murder.
We really see almost like the best analogy for what this kind of game is like almost like Dungeons and Dragons. The role we're playing is like the dungeon masters. We've set up the world, we've set up the story, we've built the characters, we've, closely defined, our writing team has closely defined, what that narrative structure is. But now it's up to the player to behave like, any good party member would in a Dungeons and Dragons game, and really probe the edges of what we've built and essentially try and co-create an adventure, an interesting scenario with us. And that can range from role-playing as, the serious cop detective who's really stoical and very professional, to actually, much more murder hobo and just going totally off-piste and threatening Lucia's children and implying all sorts of strange strategies. And we're even interested in game breaking strategies that get meta, strategies that show awareness of the fact it's a game, strategies that do anything that kind of push the boundaries of it, much in the same way that you might in a role playing game if you had a DM who tolerated that sort of thing. I mean, the way that the game is designed is fully around that. It's she's talking to an authored narrative, so there is a murder that took place. She is responsible for, and she has a very tightly defined character, and the events are very tightly defined, and all the various different players in that narrative are tightly defined. But then it's really about what you as the player bring to that, set of things that happen, those scenarios. and you essentially are trying to, probe her on different angles and basically find a way through her armor to drive confession. The remarkable thing is that, no two play sessions are the same. It's a truly emergent game where what you bring to Lucia will create a different experience each time. And even if you ask the same question each time, Lucia will respond, in a nuanced way, especially, depending on where she's at the conversation. The whole conversation is taken into account to create very nuanced and very interesting.
So that's all we've got time for. Thanks for joining us for our walkthrough of our game Dead Meat.
Please go wishlist it on Steam, and if you're going down to WASD in London, do come find us. We'll have a demo ready to play, and we're really excited to share it with you.
So thanks for joining us, and thanks to the London Games Festival for hosting.
Thank you.